Hello sweethearts, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. So this is an astrology report for the 19th of November 2020, and the 13-day process that we are moving into is in the energy of Blue Eagle. So as I mentioned in the last report, I'm presently in service at the moment with my grandparents, so I don't actually have it in my hands to show you, but the astrological diary for the cycle that begins on the 15th of December is now available. So I've put links below the video for you to get your copy. So as I say, the energy that we are moving into is the energy of Blue Eagle, and Blue Eagle is obviously a blue sign. So the blue signs within Mayan astrology are all about the transformation. So it's about going from one thing to another thing, transforming, and the recognition that what came before had to happen in order to transform into what is or what can be. So it's this real, like, you know, you put the bread in the toaster and it comes out as toast. Seemingly same things, but they come out differently. That's a weird one. But yeah, so we have the energy of Blue Eagle, and there are many facets, as is always the case with the archetypes with Mayan astrology. And Blue Eagle in particular is about planetary service first and foremost. So when I'm talking about planetary service, you know, I think the Love and Light Brigade energy of we're here to save the world and everything's wonderful and shiny is damaging, you know, and it's a coping mechanism that I am totally, you know, I've totally been a part of, you know, of wanting to save everybody else when really what's going on is that this need to save ourselves. But the beautiful thing with this Wavespell, as we're coming to the end of the cycle, you know, is that our planetary service steps in toward the end of our human evolution process that we're constantly cycling through. But if you were to take it sort of chronologically through the signs and through the wave spells, this is the second to last wave spell. So it feels very potent to highlight that our planetary service comes following our own experiences. And it's always, you know, we're always doing our own journey, we're always doing our own experience. We're never off the grid, we're never above the grid, we're never separate from the human experience. But there's a cultivation, you know, once we've been journeying consciously and breaking down, you know, keep breaking down. The more that we've broke down, the more that we can meet other people and hold other people in their breakdown, you know. And that's the thing, it's not about the stopping of the emotion, it's not about the stopping of the breakdown, it's about the permission for it, it's about the holding of it. So when it comes to our planetary service, you know, as a server, you know, what is our gift? And our gift comes from our wounding. You know, what is the challenge that this lifetime has really brought to you, because that is then what you're going to step forward with as medicine. And it may be that you're already familiar with what that looks like, but essentially, you know, that comes, I'm a firm believer that the more that we dismantle the conditioning of consciousness, which is what my work and writing with children is all about, you know, and this whole notion of schooling, it's like the more that we can dismantle all the different constructs that have been downloaded into our consciousness, what then is revealed is pure consciousness. And pure consciousness isn't about us, it's about the energy coming through us. It's a permission of flow. And this is why, you know, to witness a young person playing, they are in they're channeling, they're aligning. And, you know, as we develop and dismantle, there's then greater space for this energy of the universe to run through us. And what I notice within that is that it's always of service. The thing that really sets our heart on fire, that really gives us the fulfillment, as opposed to the happiness and the material stability and all of that stuff, the fulfillment piece is always about supporting the planet and supporting other people. So really within Blue Eagle, it's this like journey of landing into the space of, one, the integration of our personal history, to recognise it was an essential component that supported us to be of service. You know, it's taken us down to where we needed to get to meet another there, to be able to hold that. But also this like revelationary quality of like, oh, and generally speaking as well, you know, the thing that we are, I think often, again, because we've had these constructs downloaded into our consciousness of like, you know, work and the job, it means that it has to be like, oh, our service has to be the official title that I put on my business card or that I put on my CV. And it's like, no, you're of service all the time. You're of service within your family. You're of service in the supermarket. You're of service in every interaction. You know, it may be that you have to work in an environment that feels very 3D and very dull in order to have the conversations with the people in that environment that you need to have in order to support that person through the death of that person. You know, it's like we're always planted where we need to be, always planted where we need to be. So this searching quality is all right, you know, it supports us in some ways, but if we can allow ourselves to let go of the search and instead just observe where we are and what's going on already, our service becomes even more visible. Now, the other piece of Blue Eagle is, you know, about the bigger picture, you know, the bigger picture of where is consciousness going? You know, consciousness has always been evolving and continues to evolve. And it's interesting that we became very mind focused and, you know, installed and initiated. You know, it's like all of the initiations of childhood within Western culture have disappeared other than schooling. And schooling comes from this colonial perspective of how we need to initiate people in order to be able to think, in order to be able to do blah, 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 blah. But the reality is that, you know, the bigger picture of consciousness is that it is always expanding. So the more that we dismantle these constructs that are injected in, pillaged, you know, this whole like, I'm gonna like put my penis into your brain. The more that we can strip that back, the more that we are then able to witness the bigger picture as well. So this idea of consciousness always expanding, what does that even mean? For me, that means, you know, this idea of being conscious is to choose, you know, to be able to choose what we're doing, to be able to say what we want to say in the moment, to be able to say yes when we want to say yes, to be able to say no when we want to say no. That is a human being embodied and utilising their consciousness. And it's the irony, isn't it, of like the divine order, meaning that we have free will, but our free will is, you know, when we're aligned, is always for the highest and greatest good of all concerned. So it's this like beautiful paradoxical irony constantly wibbling out in every direction. But when it comes to this notion of like, you know, the bigger picture, it's a real, especially at these end times, you know, I think all of us that are kind of, you know, if you're tuning into this video, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be kind of living a similar kind of life, you know, and we are a certain flavour of soul, and we came for this time, we came to be the doulas, you know, and the mother, you know, the maiden has to die for the mother to be born, you know, and we're birthing this new world, but there has to be the deaths. And the bigger picture is that, you know, we have been living out of balance. We've been living out of balance as a collective. We've been creating our reality through fear. We've been co-creating from a space of imbalance. And, you know, we've created these seemingly permanent constructs in the outer world that reflect that. And really, it all has to be broken down for the space to come through. You know, it's the same with our personal process. It's the same with our external process. So it's like now, regardless of the conspiracy theories and the ifs and the hows and the whys and the whats, the bigger picture of that is that it's always, strip away the, oh, my personal life part, collective reality is always moving towards expansion, development and evolution. And that is what this period, this big collective dark night of the soul is about. So the thing, you know, with the Blue Eagle is being able to grid out into the bigger picture, take those moments of breathing into where we're going, what you know in a cellular way is where we're going, and, you know, the harmonious relationships that we are creating and the pockets of experience that you've had that demonstrate what the potential of this reality can be, will be. to keep bringing yourself back into that, like, wow, even though when I look in the nitty gritty bits it feels really distorted, and when I look at the media it feels really scary, and you know, I'm judging them and this is all fucked and all that stuff, you know, if we can remember to keep breathing out, breathing in, this is the end of time, it's the collective purge. And then when we then in the same way as the eagle, you know, the eagle's flying super high, and then it sees where it needs to go, it senses where it needs to be, and it swoops. So the same for us, the more that we can be in that expanded space of allowing and surrender, and allowing our mind to chill out a bit, allowing our bodies to chill out a bit, allowing that beautiful energy to be cultivated and offered, because that is our offering. Then when we do need to swoop into service, when we do get caught up in a drama exercise for us to purge something or to support another to purge something, we have got that expanded perspective available to us. So it's like gridding out within Blue Eagle is really key, and it's a really key part of our process as human beings and of servers, you know. So it's like, at the moment for me personally, you know, my granddad's been really poorly, so I've been staying with my grandma, and you know, this whole, like, I know that I have to be here to hold energy at the moment, and you know, my inner masculine is on fire, and I'm able to be here fully, and my lifestyle is orchestrated so that I can do that, and all of these different aspects. It's like the synchronicity within the situation is phenomenal, but that isn't to say that I'm not also receiving by being here, because there are times where it's challenging, and what do I do with the challenge, you know? So it's this, like, this beautiful thing all of the time that I feel is very important for this notion of planetary service, is that we are not just a saviour. We're not just here to be like, yes, I'm the evolved one in this situation and I can therefore do this, that and the other. It's like, no, we are obviously doing the conscious evolution process, so there is an ability perhaps to hold a greater level of awareness than might be available to other people, different things, but we are still always within the human form, meeting our own edges. There's never an opportunity that isn't ripe for our learning, you know, and to hone that also brings humbleness, you know. It also brings permission for the people that are around us to feel that, yeah, we are on a level, I feel safe with you, I can open with you, and we can process, you know. Whereas when we're in this, like, space, there's not necessarily a permission piece, and it is still this, like, hierarchical perspective of humanity and consciousness that we are really ready now to be shedding. So over this 13-day process, give yourself permission to look after you too, and know that every moment that you get where you can grid out, it's going to really benefit you and support you to do that, because, you know, we are deployed for mission. We are here to hold an energy, to be of service, and to do the transformation journey, you know. But this is, for me, why we've all come in at this time, you know. It's to be the light within this, and it's really key to find your truth inside. You know, it's so tempting to go to the phone, to go to the computer, and to, like, take in somebody else's consciousness all of the time. And yes, we will synchronistically be led to what we need to pick up, but it's like with anything, it's like the really rich food. You know, if we eat loads of the really rich food, it might be that momentary, like, this is really good, but if we eat loads of it, we're going to get sick. And it's the same with all the different things that are coming on. It's like, come back into the truth that you find in stillness and in silence, and use that as the anchor. Everything else can be experienced and can be, you know, taken in, and all of the different things, but that expanded perspective is where we personally get filled up again. It's where we find the real truth, and it's where spirit can then move through us. It's where the consciousness that's ready to be birthed on the planet is able to then come through us. So I hope that you have a wonderful Wavespell, and as I said, you know, the Mayan diary is now available to purchase. I don't know how long it's going to take. It'll probably take a couple of weeks to get to you, so make sure that you get it soonish so that you can then initiate the new process that starts on I think it's either the 15th or the 18th of December. It's not fully landed in my brain yet, but for when that initiates, if you can have your diary available, that means that you're going to initiate the new cycle in total consciousness and awareness, which is a really, really magical space to be. So I'm sending you loads of love, and thank you as always for watching, and see you next time.